Hello beautiful people, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi and in today's video I am going to be punching my cat in the face apparently. Welcome to my unmade bed. I decided to change up the scenery as per advice of my dear friend Cassandra, who is currently visiting, and she said that I have really good lighting right here, so I'm gonna test it out and see how y'all feel about it, how I feel about it. We'll see how this goes. But as you can tell, I'm very excited because it is two things. It is almost spooky season, as you can tell by the ghosts on my sweater, and it is becoming fall, as you can tell by the fact that I am wearing the sweater. To be fair, I get cold very easily. I am from Texas and it's hot as hell the whole year, so I do get cold the second it's below 70 degrees. However, I love the idea of fall. I don't like being cold. I don't like the feeling of being cold. It's not something I enjoy, but I do enjoy sweaters and fall as a whole and as an aesthetic. It's great, it's grand, and I am so excited to read. Fall puts me in such a reading mood. Since we're reading, that is what we're here to talk about today. Today is my September reading wrap-up / October TBR. And my September was very disappointing reading-wise. I thought I was going to be a lot more productive than I was. I only ended up finishing 2 books, and then I'm currently in the middle of one. It's only like the 26th, so I do still have a few more days, and I might end up finishing my book because Cassandra's here and we do a lot of reading together. But that was still, it leaves at least 3 that are unread on my TBR for this month, so I'll just roll those over into next month. And then I'll add 1 or 2 more because I discovered by the fact that I'm reading so much more now that I was actually in a bit of a reading slump beforehand that I didn't realize I was in, because I was like, yeah, I'm still reading books, but I just wasn't reading them at my normal pace. Now that I'm actually like wanting to read a lot more, I realized that I was also just kind of in a reading slump. So now that I'm getting out of that, hopefully next month will be better. Maybe it's because fall puts me in a reading mood. Who knows? But the 2 books that I read this month were the Battle Mage and the Outcast, the final book and the prequel in the Summoner series. I read this one first. This one was incredible. I loved it. The thing about this series is it got much better as it went along. Like, the first book was kind of give or take. It wasn't a bad book, but it was very forgettable. Like, I didn't even remember the main character's name at first. The second book, definitely a lot more engaging, but it's still like, it didn't leave me feeling like I had to read the 3rd book right away. It was definitely something I could feel myself putting down at times and stepping away from because I was getting tired of reading it. This book, however, I was really sad when I finished it. It had a great ending. I loved it. And it made me sad to leave the universe because I was finally like getting attached to the characters and getting attached to the universe itself. And it was so good. So I do recommend picking up this series. It's a cute little fantasy series. It does read a little bit like a children's series. I think it's for like late middle, early high school aged people, I think is the intended audience, but I'm a child at heart, so I loved it. It was very good. The characters in this, so much better developed than they were in the past 2 books. And I would give this one probably a 4.5 stars because I do think there was pacing issues in it at times, but overall it was a really enjoyable read. And of course, I also had the prequel to that series. This follows one of the characters that is a teacher in the actual series. His name is Arcturus, and it follows his origins as a commoner who can summon demons, because in this universe, commoners aren't supposed to be able to do that. It's reserved only for the nobles. Turns out his father was a noble and he's a bastard-born son, but that's not really important. You learn about that right away in the series, so it's not a spoiler. I pinky promise. I'm not spoiling anything for you guys, but this follows his journey in his first year at the demon summoning school, which sounds a lot more intense and cool than it actually is. It is a very cool thing. I would love to be able to summon demons like they do in this universe, but when they say summon demons, they're more like pets, kind of like Pokemon almost. It kind of feels that way to me. It's super cute. and this just follows his journey and things that went down. It follows some events that they discuss in the books in the original series, and it discusses kind of how that went down in greater detail. And normally when I read prequels, I'm not a huge fan of them, but I think because I just came off of reading the third book in the trilogy and I wanted more of the universe, I ate it up. And granted, I haven't read that many prequels in my reading experience. The ones I have read usually make me want to reread the series if I haven't just finished it, or if I have just finished it. I don't know, it feels like a regression. I'm not usually a huge fan of prequels, but I did enjoy this one pretty thoroughly, actually, and I think this one is also going to be a 4.5 stars for me. Because, again, there were some pacing issues. I feel like it could have gone a little bit faster at times. There were some plot points that were kind of redundant, I felt. But overall, I really enjoyed this, and I finished this one much faster than I'd finished any book recently. So that's exciting. Currently, it's in my book bag that I'm too lazy to go get, but I am currently in the middle of reading the Bane Chronicles, which I know I said I wanted to read in my last TBR, and it is incredible. I love it, and I'm sorry, Cassandra, if you're watching this video. I'm enjoying myself. Is it well written? Not exactly. Is it entertaining? Absolutely. It is the funniest book I think I've ever read in my entire life. That might be an exaggeration, but it is so funny. I am having a great time. I love Magnus. If you watched any of my Mortal Instruments vlogs, you will know, and I've probably talked about it in other videos too. Magnus Bane is my favorite character from that series, and he's probably in my top 10 list of all-time favorite characters, honestly. His sarcasm, his sense of humor, he is great, and I love Magnus Bane to no end. Please give me more Magnus Bane content. I am enjoying the Bane Chronicles immensely so far. I'm about a quarter of the way through. It's written a lot like you would write a book for someone whose primary language isn't English, but they're still very proficient in the language. A lot of the sentences are very formal and very proper English-like, and not necessarily conversational English, or I don't know, it just feels very textbook. And I kind of love it because that is my sense of humor. I will occasionally talk like that, and I get it, I vibe with it. And then there's some times where I'm like, okay, you're overdoing it just a little bit, back up. But the content of the book is so good, and overall the writing isn't that big of a problem because, like I said, I do find it humorous at times. It's just great. I'm having a great time with it, and this is a fun little read. It's a cute little pick-me-up standalone book, and I am very excited to finish it. Now, we are moving on to my October TBR, which is going to be pretty short because a lot of it is a reiteration of last month's TBR, I guess this month's TBR that I didn't finish. Oops! So I will be reading the Clockwork series. I forget the actual name, but of that group of books by Cassandra Clare, Clockwork Prince, Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Princess. I don't know what order they're in. I don't think it's that one though, but I will be reading those because out of a reading slump, want to get those read. I will then be picking up, as per recommendation of Cassandra, Kingdom of the Wicked. She's been begging me to read that book for a couple weeks now, maybe about a month, I don't know, since right before I left for college. And I am very excited because of how much she's hyped it up, so I do want to pick that up. And I only have the first one, so I know it's a series, and I will eventually get around to reading the rest of the series if I like it, which I probably will based on how much she hyped it up. But next up on my TBR, if I get that done, is Lore. Another recommendation by Cassandra, although I have had Lore on my shelf for a solid at least a year, maybe longer, and I just haven't gotten around to picking it up yet. But Cassandra actually just finished it the other day, and she was obsessed with it, so I'm gonna have to pick it up now, I think. That's my TBR. It's very straightforward and to the point, but I feel like I rambled a lot about the books that I read, even though I only read 2 of them. So hopefully this video was enough substantial reading content for you guys. If you did make it to the end, thank you so much. If you did enjoy this video, please subscribe for more content. I post twice a week. You should check out the link in the description to follow my Instagram, where I talk more about the books that I read and books that I want to read and books that I have read. It's pretty cool. Also, sometimes I post things about YouTube and bullet journal and my life, so you should check that out. It's pretty fun. It will be linked down below. You should like the video because it's easy, comment because it makes me smile, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!